Okay, I've got to say this before this video starts. There's some really bad language on this video, and I do apologise for it. It's got nothing to do with me, but it's kind of bits that I wanted to leave in it. So if you are offended easily, then yeah, please don't watch this one. Okay, so we're going to have a go at the wheel. We're going to stay off the rim because my man here has just told me, or just showed me how to polish the thing up. But we're going to have a go at doing the spokes as well. We don't want to get it on the bearing, so while I go around the bearing, I'm just going to hold this on there, hopefully. And hopefully it will stop it from... really gritty. Okay, look, let's see, you can see where it's been done and where it hasn't been done. It's coming out absolutely fantastic. Okay, this is, oh, it's working so well. I'm made up with this thing, I tell you. So I'm recycling now, so sweeping everything in there and then sieving it back into the hopper there. But look at this wheel, look at that. It's coming up beautiful. I'm really sorry that I can't actually show you me doing it, but my phone, honestly, is just so covered in grit at the minute. I think I'm bugging it. But yeah, I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to carry on. Well, good afternoon. It's New Year's Day today, so Happy New Year. I'm feeling hungover. Compressor's noisy. Dog needs to go for a walk. But look at that wheel. Look how good that has come up. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Fantastic. I'm sorry I can't actually show you it being done. There's so much dust around, it's going to destroy the phone, I'm afraid. But the hub itself is come up stunning. I mean, honestly, it looks brand new. The spokes then. The spokes look to me like they were chrome plated or something at some point or other, and they're looking really manky. So I'm going to have a go at blasting the spokes as well, just see if I can clean those up. I'm trying to stay away from the rim, but it's getting a bit of a battering from like overspray, if you like. But that's not a worry. Well, hopefully it's not a worry. We're going to try polishing that up afterwards anyway. Yeah, one thing that has happened then. So things I've learned here. As you can see, a bit more professional now. We have a tray, fantastic. And what I'm doing is just sweeping all of the crap back into the tray, sifting it. Don't tell the wife. And putting it back in here, and it's working absolutely brilliantly. One thing that has happened is the nozzle on here. You can see it's expanded where it's worn it away, so I have to get myself another nozzle. I guess if it gets bigger, the airspeed slows down maybe, so it won't work quite as effectively, but it seems to be working absolutely brilliantly at the minute. So I'm going to have a go at these spokes. Okay, so the shot blasting and painting room has been put away, fantastic, and the rim took a long time, but it's come up absolutely. You can see there's a few sort of splash marks now. That's from where I'm cleaning up the outside, but the center's come up beautiful. The spokes, let's see if we can focus on some spokes. They've all come up absolutely stunning. Fantastic. So we've got all of the pitting, the corrosion, where they'd been chromed or something. It was all manky looking, and we managed to get rid of all of that, which is absolutely fantastic. Took an awful long time. Now, just to give you an idea here, oh, look at that. That's the ceramic one that came with the thingy. I made that at 5.5mm, I think. You can see how much that one spread. I made that at 4mm, and you can see how much that one spread. And now there's another one in it as well. which is down to 4mm as well. So I've gone through that many ends just doing this wheel. But the spokes, it was all about the spokes. The hub was really quick and easy to do. The spokes were an absolute bloody disaster. But they're done, which is great. Anyway, so now we're going to try and polish up the rim. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got a mixture of wet and dry, 120 all the way down to 1200, and one of these old J's cloth thingies as well. So I'm going to start off with that. Start off with the 120 and work my way down to 1200 and just go around the whole of the rim and give it a good old scrub down. That's our first step. I won't bore you with the process, I'm sure you can imagine, doing it wet. Okay, so I'll get back to you when it's done. Okay, so started polishing up the rim, but I'm having real trouble. It is coming up very nicely, but I'm having real trouble in getting in between the spokes. And what's happening is I'm starting to polish up the nipples. There is one. So here you can see I'm starting to polish up the nipples and starting to polish the spokes where I'm getting it with the buffer. But obviously I'm not going to be able to do the whole of the spoke, which is a bit of a pain, which means I'm going to take it apart. I'm just going to whip all of the spokes off, take the rim off. Okay, so continuing on with this wheel strip. Nothing's easy on this bike, I'll tell you. Remember, I wish I'd have thought about this before. I wish before I'd started cleaning this, I wish I'd thought, you know what, I'll take the spokes out because it would have made it a lot easier just to do them up on a wire wheel or something like that, rather than spend about 2 months doing them with my new sandblaster. Still, never mind, things are, you know, you live and learn, don't you? So I've managed to get all of these spokes out and I'm left with 15, which the ends are rounding off on a little bit. Spanner's not going to be any good on these ones. So, special tool number 354. Okay, sometimes you make a tool for a job and it just works so well. It's excellent, and this just happens to be one of those tools. So I just want to show you this working. I have a very seized up, rounded off spoke here. How's that? That's just awesome. Okay, back on this wheel, got all of the spokes out. We now have the rim. We've rebuilt our shot blasting room. This is fantastic. Honestly, I kid you not, this has kept the dust out of the rest of the garage and it just tucks away. It's taken me 2 minutes to build it again. Brilliant idea, that one. Okay, this probably isn't quite such a good idea, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So here is our rim, and we've been trying different ways of polishing it up, and it's coming up pretty good in a few places, but I am actually going to blast the thing. I'm going to blast it first and polish it up afterwards, which might be a really bad idea, but we will find out. Okay, still not sure whether or not this was a good idea. We will find out, I'm sure. But just before I do finish, I want to show you what the rim was like. Okay, so this is the state of it. And you see it's quite pitted. So all I've done is I've just sort of shot blasted it, or just blasted the whole lot. Really, you can see now it's very, very dull. It's clean, but we've taken all of the shine out of it. I'm just going to finish off this last little bit, and then we're going to start trying to polish it back up again. Okay, I've lost the will to live when it comes to rubbing down this wheel, so that's as much as it's going to get, regardless of how bad it looks when I finished. So I've rubbed it down with a wet and dry, and I did more than just rubbing it down with a wet and dry in the end. We got all sorts of things out. We tried it with the mouse. We went down to like 120 grit. We went down to 80 grit at one point or other. But we kind of worked our way up to a point. It's still pretty badly pitted, but as long as it looks better than it did, that's the main thing. So now I'm just going to polish it. Now I just started. I've got a brown bar and a blue bar somewhere. Brown bar is the first one we're going to do it with, and then we're going to do it with the blue bar afterwards and see how it turns out. So let's have a look. I have just started with the brown bar around here, so you can see it's starting to come out, and it doesn't look too bad. Like I say, it's not brilliant. You have to bear in mind, that this bike, I said it was 25 years old at the beginning of this set of videos. It's actually 35 years old, so I got it a decade out. So this wheel's probably ain't far off of that sort of age as well, or could potentially be anyway. So it's never going to be brand new. We'll just make it as good as we can. Okay, so just moving on to polishing this wheel up now then, and I've done it already with brown bar. So what's happened to this wheel? We sandblasted it in the first place, stripped it, sandblasted it, wet and dried it, and now I've started polishing it back up again. Polished it back up with this in the first place, and then this is the final bit of polishing, which is this blue bar stuff. And you know, I'm not an expert at this, but the most effective way I found of doing this is to put this on the rim in the first place, which is what I'm just doing now, and then when it's all the way around the rim, I'll go back and just polish it all off completely. I'll show you what I mean. I'm using an electric drill, so it spins up nice and quickly. Now there probably are lots of better ways of doing this, but this does seem to work for me. So now if you look at the rim, it's absolutely covered in polishy stuff. So what I'll do now is I will just polish it all off until it's nice and shiny. Okay, I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, so back on with this wheel again at last. It's been a long time again, and cleaning up these spokes. And I've just cleaned up the spokes. I've actually did the spokes on that
and that worked really well actually. So bearing in mind I did shot blast them in the first place anyway while on the thing, so I've just given them a bit of a polish up with that really, that's all I've done. But I'm just cleaning up the threads now and cleaning up the nipple ends as well. So I've got my drill wire wheel on the vise. That is actually very hard to do one-handed, believe it or not. But anyway, so we're just giving them a bit of a polish up, and then they'll all be done.
Okay, so I've relaced this rim, and to be perfectly honest, it's not as complicated as you might think. The spokes will only go in one place. If you think about which one's inside and which one's outside, and you don't want them rubbing together, it only goes one way. However, so what we have to do now is we have to try and sort of true it up a little bit. So we're interested in any movement going up and down like this, and obviously any movement going in and out like that. Now a lot we can get rid of by the spokes, by tightening the spokes, but one thing we can't get rid of by tightening the spokes is this. If you look at this, okay, so first things first then, let's have a look at this. Distance on the rim. Focus. Okay, so we know what it is. Now if we go around to here, which is where the damage is, focus. Okay, so you can see the rim itself is actually wider than this point, which means, focus again, means we're going to have to batter this bit in here. Use my terms nicely, batter. So we are going to try it with some wood and a hammer that shouldn't mark it. Let's give this a try. Okay then. Hiya. This is Eve. Say hello, Eve.
Hey.
How was yoga? Yoga? Really?
Yeah. Yoga Mondays.
Yoga Monday. Excellent. Right. Bashed the rim with the hammer, as you can see, and straightened it out a little bit. So now, it's still, now the wheel's sort of like no buckled on the rim. I did loosen off the spokes, by the way, when I was whacking that rim. But what I'm going to do now is going to loosen off all of the spokes and start all over again, because we've got a slight offset on this rim as well that we have to consider. Yeah. Okay, so to bring the rim over this way, we tighten the spokes that go down to this side of the hub, and to take the rim over that way, we tighten the spokes that go down to this side of the hub. Fair enough. And then at the same time though, we do have to keep it round, so they've all got to go in the same amount as well. Now I have spent quite a bit of time doing this, and that is the best I can get it. Personally, I've taken it back off and battered in two places. There were two places where the rim was damaged. Oh, lost the other bit. And I've hit it in, straightened it out as best I can, and then cleaned it all back up again. Respoked it, and that, like I say, that is as good as I can get it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to work tomorrow and give it to someone who knows what they're doing properly with this thing. Okay, so we're just swapping the tyre off now, so taking the tyre off the other wheel. Now obviously this tyre's been on this rim for a long time and it's stuck in there. So I've just learned this new trick, which is fantastic. Got the weight of a motorcycle here using the stand. And if we just move that to around about there, and we'll just rock the bike onto it. Twist it around a little.
What are you two doing?
Nothing.
You dodgy git. Look at this. I'm fucking castrate them for this. Oh, for God's sake, what are you doing?
Okay, so we've broken it off, and we're just, you can see, just putting the weight of the bike down. Turn the wheel a little bit, and drop it down. Ooh. Perfect. Well done, mate. Thank you very much.
There's the hole. There is the hole, and it lives in a hole. What a beast with 5 fingers.
Now, shall we put a knot on there yet?
Yes, yeah. Just
Just so it doesn't go
a
anywhere.
couple of threads on.
See, I'm used to doing bicycles, they're a lot easier.
No, you're not used to doing. No, that's not. You're not used to doing bicycles at all. As I recall, you are a former British Motorcycle Racing Club champion, are you not? Which would.
That was in another life.
That was in another life. Right. Okay, so hold on. Let's get the wheel gerade aus, straight ahead. Now, where's the phlegm source? Oh, right, that's it. Oh.
That's Barry's, by the way.
Yeah,
Barry
I know.
left that mess.
No, that was Barry. He's leaking. He's of the age where men start to leak.
Very much so.
Can you see what it is?
Why are you
yet?
videoing this? Is this going on
This
YouTube?
is, yeah.
Is this the latest video?
No, it's not the latest video.
I would hope
Jesus, how many of us would you see here on a Sunday at 7 o'clock working? Right, if you don't mind, I'm going to start off with this at the moment. Right.
Special tools.
Fucking watch, all that money and it won't even stay on my wrist. Which goes to show you get fatter wrists as you get older, Pierre. Get in there, you slut bucket.
fat of it. Surely
Yeah.
if your watch is falling off, you get
Squeezes it out.
No,
That's
it's when I strength, it's the old
Cycle.
veins, mate.
Oh right.
It's like my knob. Like when I squeeze my knob,
Yeah, it
fuck
gets
me.
fatter.
Oh, it gets fatter. Yeah, it does, strangely enough. Gets much fatter.
Oh, even at your age.
Yeah, even at my age. Even at my age and girth size. Okay, anyway. Have you seen his Facebook pages? These are all right, but they're not great for slutty, what's its name ones? Come on, slag fuck bitch.
Ah, I see. Well, you can slide that round once you put it on.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely an edit, Pete.
Oh fuck, it's running, is it? Oh, where's the other septic seamer gone? We need to let some air out of this, Peter.
Okay.
No, not with a pussy nail, with a proper pin thing, because this just isn't.
I bet
sitting
put
there.
a screw in there, that'll make some air out.
Hey, that might work. Quick, get us
What have you got?
anything with a point on the end of it, bitch. Right. Could you get another one of these Russ Clark things here, mate, for us? Because we are, if we're not fucking properly thingied, whatever the word is, equipped. Pierre, can you hold that one, please? Right, come on, guys, let's go.
That's tight, isn't it? Isn't that tight?
It's very
It's
tight.
tight.
It's tighter than your wallet, Peter. One of the two.
Is that because the well in the wheel isn't very big?
Yeah. Fucking hell, I can never remember having this much trouble with them. Mind you, I was.
Is it because it's a
I was
19-inch
10.
rim and a 18-inch tyre?
It could be, yeah. I can't even get. I
Do you
can't.
want me to get my hands in there?
I can't get it in.
Well, you know.
Okay, so this is the current state of the bike. What's been done then? Forks, lovely. Foot pegs, lovely. Wheel, beautiful. Look at the wheel. Wheel's finished and on there. It looks great. So big thank you to everybody who got involved in helping me do this. Excuse the language. But yeah, that looks great. I'm really pleased with that one. Foot pegs, great. Yeah, she's looking pretty good to me. Maybe a little bit suspect for 6 months worth of work, you know, but we're in no rush, as we said before. It's about getting it right, as far as I'm concerned. And we'll do it at the pace that we are able to do it at. Okay, so wheel, beautiful. So what I'm going to do then, what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I might do. I'm going to the model exhibition, the model engineering exhibition with Dad at the weekend. So I think I'm gonna measure up all of the bolts I need for the rear suspension and the foot pegs and things like that. Let's see if I can get them on there. And I need a couple of ball joints for the brake lever. So maybe look for those. As to what's next with the bike, I don't know. I'm not sure, I can't make up my mind. I think I'm going to sit down and write a huge list of everything that needs to be done, see which bits I am in a position to be able to afford to do, and see which bit I'd like to do next. I think I'd quite like to do the exhaust next, but I don't think at this moment in time I'm in a position to actually do them. So we'll have a think about it, and I'll get back to you shortly.